We
it.
got the manager of the San Diego Padres, Mike Shildt. We do appreciate you stopping by here just because it's been very quiet this morning out here.
Like the quietest of any place I've ever been, actually.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the crow walking around, we would have heard nothing this morning.
You guys knew there was a night game.
We did.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, your PR staff forgot about that when they scheduled us for these 3 days, but
that's
okay.
That's all right.
You know, we got a good interview with Nick Pivetta that we ran earlier with one of your new players, and he was fun to meet yesterday.
Yeah, Nick's great.
He's got a good edge to him, and looking forward to seeing him on the mound this season. But that we got that earlier, so that was good.
I don't know if you were on the field the other day. I didn't see you. Maybe you were behind the cage. Did you see the Pivetta and Tatis 3 at-bat battle?
I was aware of it.
Were you aware of it?
Yes,
I'm sure you're aware of everything.
Yeah.
We were actually standing down there, and to watch those guys, obviously everyone's on the same team, pulling on the same rope.
Right.
But to watch the competition was pretty awesome, and to see Pivetta get him,
right,
and on a questionable call, in my opinion, questionable call.
It was
and
very questionable.
Toddy thought it was questionable as well.
I like this strike call right after that.
The dirt.
It killed me. And then to watch Toddy take him about 450 over the batter's eye was pretty special.
Pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, who can do that 6 days after the flu?
That's what we were saying. And you saw the first swing he took was a heater up around the letter, and he was way behind it. But he took that information, took it to the next AB, and saw that heater. He did not miss it again. It was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, pretty cool.
It was, and got a chance to talk to Hoffy, who was out there kind of observing too. Talk about him for a second. And I saw him yesterday by the cages, and I said, "So what have they got you doing?" He goes, "Whatever they need. I'm just out here watching." He's been out here the whole time. Having a resource like Trevor Hoffman to work with some of these guys is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, we want to value the past of the Padre history, honor it, as having Hoffy back here, Hideo Nomo, I think you see walking around as well. Jake Peavy spoke to the group at Camp 44, looking to have him involved more. As many guys that helped build the Padres organization that have done a lot of great things for the organization. We want to have them included. Clearly, you've got Trevor Hoffman, Hall of Famer. He's around. He's such humility, with this guy. I know you gotten to know him, but we do use him as a resource. One of the things I talked about, not to be out of school, but with the group being the team, when we started our, State of the Union at the beginning of the season, we talk about experiences, using your own, gathering them, and then using others. And I said, the guy that I would like to think that the group would use, the group being the team, regardless, is a really humble gentleman over there, Mr. Hoffman, Hall of Famer. And he's just always open and available for not only the players, but myself and the staff. And, we had a little bit of a temperature gauge of the big league staff 2 days ago, just where we're at, where we're going. And, Hoffy was involved, and, he kind of rightfully closed the meeting and got a chance to talk to him a little bit. And he was able to share some wisdom, and every time he speaks, value comes out of his mouth.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you'll have to check in with your guys before you get your final lineup, but I've heard that we're going to see a fairly representative group out there tonight against the Mariners, because
Toddy's still going to be in town, or
no? We're taking off after the show today.
Gotta
get back to San Diego
again.
Back to the fam.
I know we got to get back, but we will be keeping track right here on 97.3 The Fan.
Okay.
Got a live broadcast, so we can tune in with everybody else. But does that give you a little value to, because obviously you mix it up and guys are on different schedules, and you don't take everybody on the road and spring training, but on a game like this where you actually get to see maybe some of your guys together, does that give you some value at this point in spring training?
It's pretty cool. I mean, it worked out, the way the schedule works. Spring training is, an opportunity for everybody to get ready at their pace. And some guys, that are working to make a club, they go a little harder early in camp, and they know that. Guys are more established. There's a ramp up that's appropriate. They don't typically travel a whole lot. Not that they don't. I mean, day before yesterday, had Bogey, Crony, go over to Glendale and play the White Sox. Jackson, of course, still young in his career, still make some trips.
St. Louis all the way.
And then Luis, man, Luis and Wadey, man, they were riding together yesterday to Mesa. I was having fun with Toddy and like, hey man, looks like you're pretty good with that homer to dead center. You ready to go on that trip tomorrow? He's like, no.
He said the same thing about coming on this show.
He did. Actually, still not feeling great.
Yeah, man, it's real. It's real, and he's earned it. So anyway, today it works out really well. We're couple games on the road, guys getting some appropriate time to work on the backfields and work on their craft, but now we got a lineup that we're running out that's pretty darn good tonight.
We were just talking to our buddies over there. They work for Mad Friars. I'm sure you've heard of Mad Friars. They handle the minor league systems of the Padres. It's such your background, and you've done everything you can do on a baseball field, starting with coaching kids and really moving your way up to being one of the best managers in baseball, Shildt. And how much time do you get to spend with the Boston Batemans of the world, the Cobb Hightowers, the Kavaris Tiers, guys like that are out here, not going to make the club for sure, but have a future in this organization or maybe even another one. But how much time do you get to spend with those guys? I know your hands are full with the guys that you are going to be going into the season with.
Yeah, you know what? I spoke with Riley Westman, our farm director, Vinny Lopez, our field coordinator, Mike Daly, who helps our Riley, and we're putting together something where I can go speak to the prospect camp right now, the mini camp. So I'm going to do that in the next day or two.
Excellent.
Which is really important. I'd also like to follow up and speak to the entire minor league camp when they get here, and really try to be a resource for them, give them some guidance. Hopefully, it's a little bit of wisdom, and it's really important. It was cool yesterday. You go out and I don't know. Cobb is from North Carolina, so I know more of Cobb and where he comes from. We share some of the same roads growing up.
It's the only place where you're going to find a guy named Cobb, by the way, and my experience.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to find a little bit of everything, and especially in Eastern North Carolina, but yeah, North Carolina in general. But yeah, so I meet him on the mound yesterday. The kid's literally a year out. I mean, this time last year he was playing 20 games in high school.
Crazy.
And now he's in a big league spring training A game and gets a knock. And I go to make a pitching change. We bring in Marinaccio just because we weren't sure how the ninth was going to go on the road, so he needed to pitch. And like, hey, man, how you doing? He's like, yeah, doing good. Say, nice to meet you, Cobb. And so I'd met him in instructional league. But anyway, point being is those are the future of our organization, and also going to encourage, and I'm sure they'll do it, some of our players on the big league side to go down, and that's really where the real wisdom takes place.
For
when,
sure.
Peers, work with peers. But it's good to hear and help grow these guys. Like I alluded to earlier, our own experiences, but other people's experiences, mentioned about Hoffy and using him as a resource. But we got to use our resources to grow these young players so they can, when they get here, they're ready.
On an aside, I don't know if I told you this. I did go to North Carolina about a year and a half ago. It'll shock you where I went. Pinehurst.
But
it was
what was that
beautiful.
for? A fishing tournament?
Exactly.
Barbecue. I know you're maybe a
you told me you'll go out for 9 holes by yourself every once in a while, and it is you got some beautiful golfing country out there as well in North Carolina. But I was really impressed just driving through and the trees and everything. It's a gorgeous state of North Carolina.
It really is a pretty state. I'm very biased. Born and raised there. Didn't go back as much because of my responsibilities, but also San Diego pulls at you.
It does. It's tough. It's tough to leave. And
man, I love it.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's such a great place to come back from. Anywhere you go, it doesn't matter. When you come back home, you're like, oh my God, look where I'm landing. It's like being on vacation again.
Where do you go?
I know,
I guess some people go to Hawaii. I can get that. Yep,
we did. It's different, but you love coming home every single time. I mean, a lot of people flying back to their hometown and like, I got to land in Detroit, and it was great being on vacation.
Detroit,
nothing against Detroit, but you know what I'm saying.
Nothing against Detroit.
Not a thing against Detroit.
Motor City.
The Motor City. Shildt, thank you for jumping on with us. Really appreciate it. Kind of saved our butts this
morning. Have you ever been in a fishing tournament, by the way?
You know what? I have not, but I plan on in the future. You know what I do? I like to be in the water.
On the water.
I just like to be on the water.
Me too.
I just enjoy the water. It's one of the many things I love about San Diego. But
has Don Orsillo invited you out on his new little boat?
Me and Don are actually pretty close to. We were in the same area.
Okay.
I don't want to say we're neighbors, but we're in the same same community. And I'm super excited. Don got the extension. Voice of the Padres for a long time. Does a great job. I love the legacy part that Don's creating. But the answer's no.
The answer's no. Well, it's tough to get. Mudd has only been invited to Donna Tangelo's for dinner once. I mean, he's definitely tough. Is a tough nut to crack, that Don Arcel. He's only come on our show twice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In, has 6-7 years. So.
I don't think he likes people very much. So that's my guess.
I think Don's the man of the
He's
people.
amazing, though. He is.
I think it's just certain
He's the
people.
most loved person in
Could be-
San Diego. I mean,
It could be.
we're
it could
all
be
battling
certain
for
people.
second place here, Mike,
Yeah,
because
on the
Don's
media
already
side,
got
for
first place
sure.
wrapped up.
Yeah, for sure. He's amazing.
He's something else.
If we
Somebody
could just
in,
get rid of Mudd, we'll all be in great shape.
somebody in the chat said
I love
heels,
Mudd.
heels or Duke.
Oh,
You know what?
or NC State.
Well, we're 0 for 3. My family's from Maryland.
Oh, okay.
So my dad's from Baltimore, mom's from Eastern Shore, Maryland. I was born in Charlotte, but grew up a Terrapin fan.
Oh,
nice.
Back when the ACC was the ACC, 8 teams, and went at it. So I had to learn to really scratch and claw being a Terrapin fan and near Tobacco Road.
Yeah, I bet.
But now Maryland's gone out of that ACC. If I had a choice between Carolina and Duke, I've got the privilege to get to know Coach Krzyzewski and admire the Duke program. Not that I haven't the Carolina program, but push come to shove, I'll take the Blue Devils.
Who's your favorite coach, manager, coach, somebody that you look up to? Any sport,
Krzyzewski's a good one.
Yeah, Krzyzewski's really good
he's
one.
really
Yeah, I mean, I saw him the other day after the White Sox game over in Glendale, but Tony La Russa, he's my guy.
That's your guy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've worked, around him and under him for a long time. He still mentors me. He was it's interesting, at least to me. So I got the mic in my hand.
It's yours.
So I'll share it.
It's your show.
So I'm sitting there at the game. People are, hey, kids are like wanting an autograph, which is always humbling. And I'm standing next to Tony La Russa, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not signing this. Do you know who this guy is?
Yeah.
This guy's won the second most games in the history of Major League Baseball. So if he signs, I'll sign.
Yeah.
But not until. So it's really cool.
What made him so great as a manager?
He was curiosity.
Yep.
Really smart, but wanted to always know a best practice, know what you know. He had real courage. He'd tell me, don't manage don't manage with your gut, don't cover your butt.
We talk about that a lot on our show. We have mentioned before that you do see sometimes, or at least our perception, which is often wrong, but you see maybe a GM make a move or a manager that does something that he says, well, if anybody asks me about this, I can certainly justify that behavior. It's got to be hard sometimes to go full, or is it easier to just go, you know what? I know this. Like, I know what I'm doing. I know these guys. I looked them in the eye earlier. The numbers may not say it. You think about the movie Major League,
right,
and they're like, you're going with Vaughn because something tells me he's due, right?
Yeah.
Making a move like that, not to cover your butt sometimes, it's got to be a difficult choice.
Yeah, I mean, this is a longer conversation. I don't know how much time you got, but I'll try to give the Reader's Digest version. Couple things. First, with Tony, I've been with him after games, 2011 year, but for years, and I'd go to dinner with him after a game, and a move would happen in the game, and the media would be up in arms, double switch, whatever it was, and he'd be eating dinner like, yeah, I felt great about it. Didn't bother him at all. He knew it was the right move.
Yeah.
I've also been with him where something happened that he felt like he missed something, and whether it be super minute, he was really, really hard on himself. And nobody picked up on it. No had any clue,
right,
that it was a thing. And he would beat himself up. Like, I can't miss that right there. And he So, just really appreciated that his lens of what that looks like. As far as the criticisms go, that's part of the territory, clearly. One things that he shared with me when I was managing AA, and we did have he said, do you have a beat guy? Oh, yeah, we do, actually, in Springfield. And he says, he asks you the tough questions. I'm like, yeah, he does, And he goes, well, you should be grateful for that because it gives you a chance to explain yourself.
Sure.
And so I've always looked at that. That was good advice, relative to, the trust in your gut, that, some of the decisions you make, and I don't want to, I can give you specifics, but not necessary. You're doing it to prove you believe in your player.
Yeah.
And it's and yeah, that game in that moment, and every game's important, and I get it. And there's 162 of them, and we got to do everything we can in our power to compete and win, to look to win all of them. But there is an opportunity where you might end up given an opportunity, and there's a chance that you might lose that battle. But if that player can A, know you believe in him, B, have the success in that moment, you got a real big chance to win that war.
That's great stuff,
Mike. Really appreciate it. And just from my perspective, obviously in this job, we always second guess every once in a while. Very little actually, but even a couple of times last year. And I will say, I always know that you've got a reason for what you're doing.
Sure.
I fully believe that 100%. Even if occasionally fans are going to disagree, there's no doubt in my mind there's a reason, and a good reason, for why you do what you do in that dugout.
Yeah, there's a reason for it. And again, there's days where I don't. I'm like, gosh darn it, man. Could have done that different. That's the human factor. Hopefully don't have many of those moments, or you don't have a job.
So many moments are 50-50 anyway. They both worked out. They both didn't work out.
It just changes our proposition. And, listen, as far as the second guessing, heck, man, Whitey Herzog would say, the beautiful thing about baseball is there's a relationship to it that almost everybody has, whether it's baseball, softball, sitting at a game, have an opinion. And it's really one of the best parts of our game. So I appreciate, because that grows our game, right? When people question and that's okay. It's a big boy game.
That hindsight machine, though, it never misses.
It's amazing.
It never misses. It's
amazing.
It's like crystal clear.
It's fantastic. And I just really appreciate the fact that, people know exactly everything that I know.
What should have done
to make an informed decision.
That's exactly right.
With human beings. But hey, it's a wonderful gig, and I'm blessed to have it.
We're out of your hair for at least the next 3.5 weeks.
You guys are really cool. I like it. I know I give you a hard time.
Spring training. We'll see you when you get back.
All right. Yeah, safe travel.